Hello and welcome tonight. The president pledges support to John Mahama after he was sworn in as Ghana's president for his second term. Nigeria is at moderate risk for HMPV, says the NCDC. Oyo Court adjourns ruling on bail application for 3 persons arrested over the recent fatal Ibadan stampede. And more than 120 people have been killed after a powerful earthquake hit a remote region in Tibet.
On business news, Nigeria's forex reserves climbed by over $591 million 1 month after Eurobond auction.
On sports news tonight, Nigeria Football Federation appoints Eric Shell as new head coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
And from Abuja, the nation's capital, the NDLEA reels out its achievements in 2024, records a seizure of 2.6 million kilograms of illicit drugs, arrests more than 18,500 drug trafficking offenders.
We begin tonight in Ghana, where Nigeria has renewed its commitment to its long-standing relationship with its West African neighbor. This follows the swearing-in of John Mahama for a second term as president of Ghana. At today's ceremony, President Bola Tinubu delivered a message of support and goodwill to President Mahama, pledging Nigeria's collaboration for the mutual benefit of both nations. The event brought together African leaders and dignitaries, including former Nigerian Presidents Olusegun Obasanjo and Dr. Goodluck Jonathan. In his remarks, President Bola Tinubu expressed confidence in President John Mahama's leadership, saying his administration would work progressively with Nigeria to strengthen ties and improve the lives of citizens on both sides. President Mahama took the oath of office administered by Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo of Ghana's Supreme Court. In his speech, he promised to uphold and protect the nation's constitution and made a strong commitment to sound decision-making in addressing Ghana's challenges. As a former leader who served as Ghana's 12th president from 2011 to 2017, President Mahama assured Ghanaians of his resolve to steer the country through its current challenges with wisdom, determination, and a focus on progress.
John Mahama,
do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
Do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
That I will bear true faith.
That I will bear true faith.
And allegiance.
And allegiance.
To the Republic of Ghana.
To the Republic of Ghana.
As by law established.
As by law established.
That I will uphold.
And that I will uphold.
The sovereignty.
The sovereignty.
And integrity.
And integrity.
Of Ghana.
Of Ghana.
And that I will preserve.
And that I will preserve.
Protect.
Protect.
And defend.
And defend.
The Constitution.
The Constitution.
Of the Republic of Ghana.
Of the Republic of Ghana.
So help me God.
So help me God. As your next leader, I shall strive to exercise sound judgment and be able to make the right calls at the right time. I will have the humility and presence of mind to take responsibility for any challenges and be willing to act firmly and timelessly to resolve the challenges that we face as a nation. Since the elections, I have read and heard the word hope used many times in relation to my presidency and what it should offer the citizens of Ghana. I intend to speak plainly and clearly to you today, and every time I address you subsequently, I intend to always tell you the truth. The circumstances we find ourselves in are indeed dire, but even so, I'll be decisive and swift in my actions. We'll focus our initial efforts on 4 critical areas. The first is economic restoration and stabilization of the macroeconomic environment. Second is the improvement of the business and investment environment to ensure that Ghana is once again open for business. The third is governance and constitutional reforms. And the final, but not the least, is accountability and the fight against corruption.
Today, we celebrate African democracy as Ghana and our beloved people mark the transition from one democratic government to another. This moment does not merely symbolize another milestone in the evolution of Ghanaians' democratic society. It further demonstrates that in West Africa, we are capable of democratic and productive endeavors. It is time that our continent critics stop forgetting the strides that Ghana, Nigeria, and others have made. We need not prove ourselves to them. We have nothing to prove to anyone except ourselves. We will lift our nations out of poverty and build strong and resilient economies for our people. Today, I am here not only as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, but also as an African in resolute support of Ghana and our people. This moment is a source of pride and honor for Ghanaians, the entire continent, and its diaspora.
Back here in Nigeria, the Center for Disease Control, that's the NCDC, is stepping up efforts to guard against the human metapneumovirus, or HMPV. The agency is working closely with port health authorities and states that have international airports to ensure strong preparedness at all entry points into the country. Speaking with Channels Television in Abuja, the Director General of the Center, Dr. Jide Idris, said Nigeria remains at moderate risk for the virus. He emphasized that the government is closely monitoring the outbreak and implementing safety measures to strengthen the nation's preparedness and response capabilities. Dr. Idris also revealed that testing for the virus will soon begin, with plans to assist states and significantly increase testing capacity nationwide.
Generally, we've not been testing for HMPV because it's not been a major thing. But now, we've heard about this now. We're trying to see how we can increase the laboratory capabilities to be able to test for that. Luckily, the only thing they need is some reagents that will require, which we're going to start stocking now and start sending out to those people. They have a staff who can do this in those various laboratories. But again, part of that preparation is to train the staff, just to retrain them to be able to show off those systems. And again, it presents just like many of these respiratory problems, cough, fever, sneezing, all those funny things. And there's no known drug for it, and there's no vaccine for it. So it has to be treated symptomatically, just like the flu or the common cold. But again, the idea is that unless the health workers have increased level of awareness, so people who they see, there is one of the things they have to have in their minds and start testing for all those things. So those are the things we're doing. Laboratory capabilities here, we have NRL, we have a CPHL in Lagos, and then we're looking at the states where these airports are, and see how it can be for optimize their capabilities. And of course, we extend it again to the regional labs where they have the wherewithal. So one of the other things again is that alerting the state governments. Also, they have to be on the lookout, establish their own preparedness and response capabilities. Those of them that have treatment centers, isolation centers, just get them ready just in case you may need this. We are not going to quarantine anybody right now. But if there's going to be a need, we have to do that. You don't wait until you need it before you start looking for. So the idea is preparedness. But again, like we need to. I remember this morning I got a call from the Chinese embassy, and I think they misunderstood what was sent out yesterday. We'll try to douse that tension. But once they finish their own gap analysis, especially with respect to the institutional reports, they will let us know when they're going to start. And again, they need to work hand in hand with FAN, because they need to work hand in hand, or else they're going to disrupt the activities at the airports. And those it has to be well properly coordinated and all. And again, the diagnostic capabilities, now the states near there again, see where they can refer samples to just in case they have all this.
And now to the courts. A high court sitting in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, has adjourned its ruling on the bail applications for the suspects involved in the Ibadan funfair stampede that tragically claimed the lives of 35 minors. After hearing arguments from the defense counsels for the three suspects, Justice Kamoruddin Olawoyin announced that the ruling on their bail applications has been postponed to Tuesday, January the 13th.
The three suspects, Naomi Shilekunla, Uriyomi Hamzat, and the principal of the Islamic school in Orita Basharun area of Ibadan, Abdullahi Fasisi, are standing trial over the stampede which occurred during a Christmas children fun fair in December of 2024. The incident claimed the lives of 35 minors. All the suspects had filed an application seeking to bail the suspects. The accused were arraigned by a magistrate court sitting in Iyagokun on a 4-count charge of conspiracy, acceleration of death, negligent acts causing harm, and failure to provide adequate security and medical facilities. The cases were argued separately by the counsel in a proceeding that lasted more than 5 hours. In their respective arguments, the lawyers told the court why the suspects should be allowed to enjoy their freedom, noting that there are no sufficient evidence before the court to warrant their confinement to a correctional facility.
We have argued that for us, holding charge is unknown to law. They were arraigned for charges which we felt that the magistrate court has no jurisdiction to take. And in view of the fact that it has no jurisdiction, if they were to be remanded, they must be remanded pursuant to the proper application made to the court, either by the person having the authority having custody of Uriyomi or by the state.
The court has not said anything. Ruling has been adjourned to 13th of January 2025. So the court has not said anything. We have just argued. So we are not expected to either tell the press or the public, this is against. We have argued, the matter has been adjourned to 13th February 2025.
These are provisions of the law. Jurisdiction is given or conferred to a court by the enabling statute that set up that court or the constitution itself. There is nothing in the enabling statute, that is the magistrate court law for your state and the constitution of Nigeria, as well as all the relevant statutes that confer jurisdiction on a magistrate to countenance an offense which is alleged to have been committed.
In the meantime, the Oyo State government, represented by the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Mr. Abiodun Aikomo, opposed the bill application, and he gives his reasons.
The applicants filed their summons for bail before the courts, and we opposed all the three applications. So arguments were taken. You can see they're just coming out of the court. Unfortunately, that issue has been submitted before the court, and arguments have been taken. So we await the ruling of the court on it on the 13th.
The suspects are currently being remanded at the Nigerian Correctional Center, Agodi, Ibadan.
In part two, after the break, University of Abuja professors and senior lecturers protest against the appointment of Professor Aisha Mekudi as the substantive vice-chancellor of the institution. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you have just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. The president pledges support to John Mahama after he was sworn in as Ghana's president for his second term. Nigeria is at moderate risk for HMPV, says the NCDC. Oyo Court adjourns ruling on bail application for 3 persons arrested over the recent fatal Ibadan stampede. And more than 120 people have been killed after a powerful earthquake hit a remote region in Tibet. To the Federal Capital Territory, where calm has been restored to Kuchibui village in the Buhari Area Council of Abuja after an explosion at an Islamia school that claimed 2 lives and left 2 others injured. One of the survivors has been transferred to the University of Abuja Teaching Hospital in Gwagwalada for intensive care as doctors work to stabilize their condition. The police have confirmed that investigations into the incident are still ongoing.
The road to Kuchibi village, a community in Buhari Area Council of Abuja, is not welcoming. A bumpy ride along the dusty road is an indication of the remote nature of the community. The community is sparsely populated with minimal social amenities. This block of classrooms is hosting the school where the blast occurred, and the residents are still coming to terms with the incident.
I was far away when I heard the sound. I heard children crying, and I rushed there only to see that 2 people have died and another 2 injured.
The floor is littered with footwears and other belongings of the victims, and the impact of the explosion is visible. Just outside the school building, dozens of students who attend the school are yet to come to terms with the incident. Though some of the eyewitnesses refused to speak on camera, Channels Television was informed that the explosive was brought to the school by one of the students who came in from Edo State the previous day. Officials of the FCT Emergency Management Agency are on ground to monitor the situation.
Yeah, our boss have sent us down here to come and assess the area where the explosion took place. And we have assessed it, we have seen what has taken place. It was 4 people that were involved. There are two that died. One was brought in dead, and then the other one died at the hospital, the Kubwa General Hospital.
The Kubwa General Hospital was the initial place where the victims were rushed to for medical attention. We were not allowed to take shots of the only victim still receiving treatment at the hospital. The medical director of the hospital also refused to speak on camera, though he confirmed that one of the victims has been referred to the University of Abuja Teaching Hospital in Gwagwalada. Meanwhile, the police spokesperson told journalists at a news conference that the police is still investigating the incident.
The FCT is investigating, and I'm sure they have some suspects. So don't let us preempt what the investigation will reveal. Let them finish their investigation. The Commissioner of Police in charge of FCT, CP Toji Disu, will continue to give you back-to-back updates of the incident.
While the school remains sealed, residents of the community await the outcome of the investigation by the police to unravel the details of the sad event.
To politics in Edo State, where Governor Monday Okpewolo has vowed to support the acting chairman of the local government councils, whose elected chairmen were recently impeached by members of their legislative arms. Now, the acting chairmen, who are set to be members of the People's Democratic Party, along with some party leaders from the various areas, were addressed during the meeting with the governor and top government officials, including All Progressives Congress leaders at Government House in Benin City, the state capital, where they pledged their allegiance to the governor and his administration.
When we came into the office, I had a meeting with the Accountant General. I said, this payment is going to be. There was no explanation to it. Then why did I pick interest? I saw environmental security funding. I've never heard that before. And the amount involved is huge, 800 million. Every month, this chairman contributes this money to give a leader of one particular party. And in our schools, we don't have teachers. So I felt I should invite them, and I actually invited them. That day, unfortunately, I didn't have time to meet with them directly, but my deputy did. He asked for a simple thing. Explain this. They could not explain. He said, okay, if you cannot explain, give me your books. 24 hours which they choose by themselves, they never did. 48 hours that the deputy gave, they never did. 2 weeks, nothing happened. I have to send a letter to EFCC to please look into these people's record. At the same time, as a parliamentarian, I know there are people that have oversight function rights over them, which is the State Assembly. I also sent a letter to the State Assembly. Invited them, they refused to come, and State Assembly decided to say, okay, we suspend you for two months so that we can look into your record. That is it. But I want to thank you because you have changed the narrative.
Some professors and senior lecturers from the University of Abuja have staged a protest at the Federal Ministry of Education, expressing their opposition to the appointment of Professor Aisha Maikudi as the substantive vice-chancellor of the institution. Now, the protesters, who gathered in front of the ministry at the Federal Secretariat in Abuja, described the appointment as a violation of due process and university laws, calling for its immediate nullification. Speaking on behalf of the group, one of the senior lecturers, Professor Kazim Waziri, explained that the move is a threat to the integrity of the institution and asked the Minister of Education to annul the appointment. More protests from the nation's capital, and this time activities at the Federal Ministry of Finance in Abuja were disrupted this morning as retired soldiers under the coalition of concerned veterans staged their demonstration over unpaid entitlements. The retired military personnel are demanding immediate payment of their 50% arrears balance, bulk settlement of the security debarment allowance, and payment of palliative funds to cushion the current economic hardships. So let's now head to the nation's capital, where Markwe Ogun Yusuf is standing by to give us the very latest from our Abuja studios. Hello, Markwe.
Hello, Ayo. It's still the season of stock taking, and this time it's the turn of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the NDLEA, which says it seized over 2.6 million kilograms of illicit drugs and arrested more than 18,500 drug trafficking offenders. The chairman and chief executive officer of the NDLEA, retired Brigadier General Buba Marwa, says it's all thanks to the global support and assistance from the United States government, as well as other partners and stakeholders. He was speaking at the commissioning of the Central Exhibit Office donated by the U.S. government to the agency's headquarters in Ikoyi, Lagos. Our correspondent Kelly Egiga reports.
The arrival of the chairman and chief executive of the NDLEA, Brigadier General Muhammad Buba Marwa, signals the start of the commissioning ceremony of exhibit office and facilities donated to the agency by the U.S. government. In her remarks, the U.S. Acting Consul General highlights the significance of the support the U.S. government has been providing for the NDLEA, as she asked that the cornerstone of the relationship between Nigeria and U.S. is premised on the vibrancy of democracy.
I want to note that there are still problems in the world, and obviously the global community is grappling with the significant public health crisis that is synthetic drugs. This crisis comes as a measurable cost. It devastates families, it devastates communities. And in responding to this global problem, no one country can succeed alone. Not the United States, not Nigeria. We must work together.
While describing the United States government as a reliable ally in Nigeria's renewed efforts to combat drug-related crimes, Brigadier General Marwa hails the continued collaboration with the U.S., which he believes has bolstered and enhanced the agency's operational capabilities.
2024, we seized over 2.6 million kilograms of illicit drugs. Across the country, we arrested more than 18,500 drug trafficking offenders, and of these, so far, we've convicted 3,250, including 10 drug barons. We've also successfully destroyed over 220 hectares of cannabis farms last year.
The high points of the events was the commissioning and tour of the refurbished facilities. In another development, the leadership of the NDLEA and the Nigeria Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, have agreed to work together to stop the influx of illicit substances into the country. Brigadier General Marwa disclosed this when he paid an official visit to the NIMASA boss in Lagos.
NIMASA is a key stakeholder with whom we need to collaborate towards achieving our goals.
We will collaborate with you, and most importantly, the incorporation of NDLEA officials into the Deep Blue project. We will look at the mechanism, the framework, to ensure that some of your officers are included into it.
With these partnerships, it is believed that the war against illicit drugs will be tackled headlong and reduced to its barest minimum. Kelly Egiga, Channels Television News.
Still to come on the news at 10, Nigeria's forex reserves climbed by over $591 million a month after its Eurobond auction. That's on business news. Please join us again. Welcome back. You're still watching the news at 10. To infrastructure development in Anambra State, former Commonwealth Secretary General Chief Emeka Anyoko has described the ongoing projects there as legacy plans that are built to last. He made this known during a tour of 2 project sites in Awka with Governor Chukwuma Soludo. Chief Anyoko, while commending the quality of work, says he will lend his voice to draw the president's attention to undertake the commissioning as the projects are most impressive.
It's an unprecedented inspection tour as the almost 92-year-old elder statesman and the former Secretary General of the Commonwealth joins the Anambra State Governor, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, to tour 2 ongoing project sites in the state.
We're going to where you find the whale, like the London Eye.
The first port of call is the Fun City in Awka, where the governor shows the visitors the structure that will bring entertainment, leisure, and fun to the people of Anambra State. They go through the family fun house that is like Disney World to see some of the outdoor equipment for fun already mounted.
When you come here, families can spend days where it's just having unlimited fun. You know, those who are in this place, they get from there, they can go to cinema, have this, and fun. And for the elite, when they finish all of this, the cinema just go down, you get to the country club and see your colleagues and so on. Because there's no point of contact for social interaction and entertainment, leisure, and so on. That's the you got it right.
Next is a stopover at Dr. Alex Ekweme Square, Oka, where renovation meant to change the entire area is ongoing. From the Alex Ekweme Square, the party moves to the new government house where Governor Soludo shows his guests the 1,000-seater amphitheater as well as other new structures under construction.
What I have been shown by His Excellency the Governor is one of the most impressive developments. He seems to have thought about every possible need for the state governor. I am used to seeing amphitheaters that would accommodate 250 to at the maximum 500 people. But what I have seen here is one that will accommodate 1,000 people. That is an extraordinary amphitheater. And I would like to congratulate Governor Soludo and his administration for being so minded to lead this vast construction. I will add my voice to the President Bola Tinubu to come and commission it, because this is one of the few things that would deserve commissioning by the President of the nation.
After the inspection, Professor Soludo informs his guests that a befitting structure will be named after him.
As we begin to name the buildings and name the roads and so on and so forth, because there are many roads and many streets to be named. This is a mini city. I'm sure when we get there, we have to think of the one, many boulevards, many of these things have been named after him, Lagos, Abuja, and so on and so forth. But we've got to be thinking of befitting ones in Anambra, not one, it will be ones in Anambra. And certainly nobody should be able to come here and drive through all the roads and the streets within this boulevard without coming across our foremost gift to the world.
At the end of it all, Governor Soludo assures the former Commonwealth scribe that his goal is to make Anambra State a prosperous and livable homeland.
While staying in the southeast, the Christmas and New Year celebrations have come and gone, with most people who traveled home for the celebrations now back to work. Yet, Christmas in the southeast in 2024 defied the odds. Despite initial concerns over insecurity and economic challenges, communities in Imo, Anambra and Ebonyi states also had their version of Dirty December as they came alive with festive activities during the Yuletide. Our correspondent Eyitokwe Kuti in this special report tells how the Southeast celebrated Christmas and the expectations of the people for 2025.
Christmas in the Southeast in 2024 was a mix of excitement, unity, resilience, and joyous homecoming, especially for Igbos who reside outside the shores of the region. From various busy motor parks to the airports, indigents arrive in their numbers to celebrate the Yuletide with their loved ones. State, it was all about culture and tradition as carnivals, dances and wrestling competitions were organized. From Abakaliki to Ikwo and many other communities, the spirit of giving was evident as Good Samaritans, politicians and organizations distributed palliatives to the less privileged, ensuring that everyone could partake in the festivities. indigenous law, the state government and security operatives for ensuring a crime-free youth-time.
The governor of Ebonyi State is trying because he mobilized different types of security, internal security, and they are guiding people. And nobody is fearing he can move from 12 p.m., 12 a.m. at any time that you want to move, you move freely.
The youths are looking up to the government to provide job opportunities for teeming unemployed youths in 2025 and also reduce price of commodities.
We need an empowerment of youth. There is no work, no job anywhere. Even the job that you will do, the salary will be just a little. I will not even sustain you. So for me, you people should empower, the government should empower the youth. There is no work, we need job.
The way things are hard now, I'm even confused. In the sense that before me I reach here, I suffered a lot. Buying fuel, I go to buy fuel, they tell me 1,000 something. In the sense that when I ride small in the back, the fuel will go off on my bike, and I have no other cash to buy another one. So I'm pleading on behalf of me and the local government, make them bring things down for the betterment of us who will not get.
In Anambra State, it was a colorful celebration filled with traditional music and communal festivities, bringing families and communities together. Security operatives were up and doing, even though there were pockets of unpleasant incidences, but these didn't stop the joy and excitement of the festive period.
In terms of enjoyment, the youth was very wonderful. If you look around, people are still celebrating one thing or the other, either marriage, maybe life or burial or something. So lots of things are still going on. We thank God. It was a very nice and successful celebration.
Despite the economic challenges, the people say the Yuletide was enjoyable and smooth. They, however, want the government to step up their game in the year 2025 to ensure that Nigerians have a better living standard.
In this 2025, it is expected of the government to enhance a good working relationship with the citizens, especially by putting in place policies that shall encourage productivity, encourage investment, especially as it concerns security.
In Imo State, from beautiful Christmas decorations in the capital city of Owerri to Olu, Omuma, Okigwe, Oguta, and many other communities, it was non-stop fun. From traditional masquerade dances to carol nights in churches, celebrations, children funfair, and football competitions. Despite fears of insecurity, families reunited, with many expressing relief over the relatively low crime rates, all thanks to the Joint Security Task Force in Imo State under Operation Udoka.
There was no trace of insecurity in anywhere in my area, and villages were agog. People were in a celebratory mood, enjoying themselves, having different events in one place or the other.
The people want the local government system to be more functional in the year 2025 and for the government to ensure that the cost of living is reduced. As the festive period winds down and people return to their workplaces, the expectations of the people from the Southeast region is clear and simple. Improved security, economic stability, job opportunities for teeming unemployed youths, and a stronger commitment for government at all levels to addressing the needs of the people. Eyitope Kute, Channels Television News.
And that's it from the nation's capital, but some more to look forward to as Nigeria's forex reserves climb by over $591 million. Will Ibong has details on business news.
Thank you, Markwe. It is a bit of a celebration for the forex markets. Nigeria's foreign exchange reserves rose by $591.78 million in the month following the government's $2.2 billion Eurobond auction on December 2nd, 2024. The reserves increased from $40.29 billion on December 2nd to $40.8 billion by January 3, 2025, reflecting a 1.47% month-on-month growth. The central bank's data reveals consistent growth, with reserves climbing steadily throughout December. Highlights include an $84 million rise in the first week and a sharp $265 million jump mid-month, driven by foreign exchange inflows and oil revenue. Compared to the previous year, Nigeria's reserves have grown significantly, surging from $33.04 billion in January 2024 to $40.88 billion in January 2025. Now, with the expiration of the 150-day duty-free import window for food commodities on December the 31st, 2024, analysts and experts are wondering if the window was implemented at all, with reports of benefits of the window not passed on to consumers. According to Mr. Bismarck Ruwani, CEO of financial derivatives company, bureaucracy is a major hindrance to government's policies. He made the comments on Business Morning.
Bureaucracy is the enemy of efficiency. So what has happened is that the Minister of Finance and the economic team have actually come up with a plan. But what has happened is that bureaucracy has stalled it, but also opportunities have taken advantage of this to create shortages. So what have we seen? We saw the price of rice decline, but it's gone up back up. We're seeing this, and there's a big difference between the price of perishables and the ones that are being imported. But I think it's a monumental disaster if we couldn't take advantage of it. And that window officially should have closed by this week. But I think, and I believe that the government will extend that window. But as long, whether the window is open from now to forever, until the bureaucracy is out of the way so that people can bring in these commodities and at the same time pass on the price benefit to the consumers. Don't forget, we are in the planting season. So now we are going to be having food shortages between now, during the planting season, and the next time you will get the big swing or drop in prices will be during the harvest. This will be a major problem.
Now let's move on to other markets now. It's a bearish close at the NGX as investors seem to have had their fair share of insurance stocks. John Mahama has the details.
Will. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the stock market report. Well, profit taking did set into the NGX today, and we saw the market down 0.24%, but we're still on to 103,000 level. I guess that should be comforting to us. We've lost a couple of millions right here, but still on 63 trillion naira. Banking, that lifted the market yesterday, today is down. Even though FBN Holding did escape that, but we saw Access, Coal, UBA, Zenith Bank, they were in the red. And so we see a red banking counter at the close of trade today, 0.64%. Consumer goods retains the red color from yesterday, and Dangote is still on the list of profit-taking stocks that's experienced profit-taking today. Oil and gas also still down at the close of trade today. Japan Gold is back in the news. Owando retains its spots right there. A lot of profit-taking happening on their top trades today. We have to talk about FBN Holdings. I do not know if it's because, some group named billionaire Otedola as an investor man of the year for 2024, but we know that FBN Holding did make it to the top trades today. 161 million of its stocks were sold. ICO Insurance also made it right there, as well as Tantalizer, and they gained, at the end. But at the end of the day, even their gains could not stop the bear from showing up.
And that's the much you can take on business. It's back to Ayotunde for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you so much, Will. Facebook and Instagram parent company Meta is abandoning the use of independent fact-checkers on both social media platforms, replacing them with X-style community notes, where commenting on the accuracy of posts is now left to users. Here's Simon Pierce with more international news and Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Rescue workers are searching for survivors after a major earthquake killed dozens of people in Tibet. Here, CCTV footage showing the huge tremors that also damaged more than 1,000 buildings in a remote region of the country near Everest. The earthquake hit the foothills of the Himalayas at around 9 a.m. local time. A large-scale rescue operation was launched, with survivors under additional pressure as temperatures were predicted to fall as low as -16 overnight. Earthquakes are common in the region, which lies on a major geological fault line, but Tuesday's was one of China's deadliest in recent years. Russia claims that its forces have captured the frontline town of Kurakhove in eastern Ukraine's Donetsk region. The town has borne the brunt of Russian advances in recent months and is a stepping stone to the key logistical hub of Pokrovsk. Ukraine has not acknowledged the fall of the city. Fierce fighting has also been underway in Russia's Kursk region in recent days after Ukraine launched a counterattack.
Conseil du Front National.
French far-right politician Jean-Marie Le Pen has died at the age of 96. Le Pen, a Holocaust denier and an unrepentant extremist on race, gender and immigration, founded the French far-right National Front Party in 1972. He reached the presidential election runoff against Jacques Chirac in 2002. Le Pen's daughter, Marine, took over the party as chief in 2011. She has since rebranded the party as the National Rally, turning it into one of France's main political forces. Senegal and Chad have reacted strongly to remarks by French President Emmanuel Macron about African countries being ungrateful over France's role in helping fight militant jihadist insurgencies. Mr. Macron said that Sahel states forgot to thank France for its role amid the continuing withdrawal of French troops from West African countries. In response, Chad's foreign minister said Macron's comments had revealed his contempt for Africa. Rescuers in India are racing against time to bring out miners trapped inside a flooded coal mine in the northeastern state of Assam. 3 of the 9 men inside are feared dead after the state government said rescue teams had spotted some bodies they have been unable to reach. The men were trapped on Monday morning after water flooded the so-called rat hole mine, which is a narrow hole dug manually to extract coal. Despite a ban on such mining in India since 2014, small illegal mines continue to be operational in Assam and other northeastern states.
I want to talk about something important today, because it's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram.
Meta is abandoning the use of third-party fact-checking on Facebook and Instagram and will replace it with X-style community notes, where commenting on the accuracy of posts is left to users. In a video alongside a blog post, Chief Executive Mark Zuckerberg said it's time to get back to our roots around free expression. The move to a community notes system will be phased in over the coming months. The former governor of the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England, Mark Carney, says he is considering entering the race to replace Justin Trudeau as the leader of Canada's Liberal Party. Trudeau said on Monday he would step down after 9 years as Canadian Prime Minister, following growing pressure from his own party and poor opinion polling. Mr. Carney is one of several names in the frame to replace Mr. Trudeau, along with his former deputy and transport minister. Trudeau says he will stay in office until a new leader is chosen. And a civilian safety patrol group known as the Guardian Angels have resumed their subway patrols in New York City for the first time since 2020. Veteran member Guillermo G.Q. Ames, a Guardian Angel since 1983, navigated subway platforms and train cars from Manhattan to Queens and back to Manhattan over the course of nearly 3 hours with his 15-year-old son William and another Guardian. The Guardian Angels are known for their hands-on approach to crime prevention. Their efforts have not gone unnoticed, with local residents expressing appreciation for the group's dedication, particularly amid a spate of violent incidents. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Many thanks indeed, Simon, and welcome to Sports News. The Executive Committee of the Nigeria Football Federation has endorsed the recommendation of its Technical and Development Subcommittee for the appointment of Eric Schell as head coach of Nigeria Super Eagles, where Shell, who won 5 caps for Mali, has been head coach of that country since 2022. At the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations finals in Cote d'Ivoire, Shell's Mali came very close to a place in the semi-finals, losing to hosts and eventual winners Cote d'Ivoire 2-1 after extra time. The 47-year-old featured for some clubs in France during his playing career. His appointment is with immediate effect, and he has the responsibility of guiding the Super Eagles of Nigeria to earn a ticket to the 2026 FIFA World Cup finals, with the next round of matches taking place in March. To club football now, Tottenham Hotspur captain Son Heung-min will remain at the club until 2026 after the English Premier League club activated a 1-year extension in his contract earlier today. The 32-year-old, who joined Spurs in 2015, has scored 169 goals and provided 90 assists in 431 appearances for the club. His current deal was due to expire at the end of this season, but he will remain in North London until the end of the following campaign. He's in the Premier League's top 20 goal scorers of all time, and he's the most prolific Asian player in the competition's history. And that's your sports news tonight. I am Kelly Egiga. It's back to Ayotunde.
President Bola Tinubu has returned to Nigeria after attending the inauguration of President John Mahama of Ghana. President Tinubu was received at the Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport in Abuja by the Chief of Staff to the President, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila, and the National Security Advisor, Mr. Nuhu Ribadu. And the main news again. The president has pledged support to John Mahama after he was sworn in as Ghana's president for his second term. And we also told you that the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, the NCDC, says Nigeria is at moderate risk for HMPV, that's human metapneumovirus. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayotunde Balogun from everyone here. You have a good night.